This is a presentation on Closing the Achievement Gap Between Our White and Minority Students by Whitney Warner. Some of you may ask if there really is an achievement gap. Although we have seen growth in white, Black, and Latino achievement in our schools, still 80% of our students that graduate high school, only 50% of all of our Black students are graduating high school. And if you look at Latino students, 60% of our Latino students are graduating high school. Also, we see a huge achievement gap with our math scores. And this is just one of the many examples, but in the US Department of Education in 2015 said that math scores in grade 8 for Black students were 31 points lower. Another study found by Hemphill and Vanham found that there was a 21-point difference on math achievement scores in fourth grade between white and Latino students, and 21 6-point difference in grade 8 between those two groups of students. Why is there an achievement gap between our white and minority students in schools? Potential causes for this achievement gap might be the rapid population growth of our English language learners, especially with Latino students. 37% of all of our fourth graders and 21% of all of our eighth graders in 2011 were English language learners. Also, with these language learners, there is a lack of language support in the traditional models of education that are still prevalent throughout our schools. And when we look at Black students, we find that even though our school populations are more diverse, our expectations, our interventions, our assessments are typically the same for all of our students. This can cause low engagement and just lack of support for these students. So how can we close the achievement gap? I am recommending 3 goals for our schools. First is flexibility, also targeted resources, and language instruction. First, we need to learn to be flexible. This goes for all of our students, regardless of who they are, what their needs are, but especially with our minority students. Behavior management or classroom management needs to look different. Teachers and support staff should be aware that there are cultural differences in effective discipline. What you do for one group of students might not work for another group of students, and we need to be more investigative and creative and supportive of our students who need help in promoting positive behavior. Our curriculum, a lot of times our cultures, all cultures that are in the classroom are not represented in our curriculum. In order to increase engagement with the curriculum, all of our cultures that are represented in our schools should also be represented in our curriculum. And finally, our assessments. We need to review our assessments for culturally biased content, things that students of minority culture simply would not be able to relate to or engage with. We need to include real-world examples that are relevant and comprehensible for all of our students. Again, this means being flexible. Our behavior management, our curriculum, and our assessment might not look the same for all students. It might not be a common curriculum or a common assessment. It might need to be just as diverse as our classrooms are. Also, we need to increase our resources. We need resources to be available for parents, for teachers, and our support staff that address adequate behavior intervention for all types of students. Our mental health needs in our students of minority populations, social needs, and academic support. The Latino Achievement Gap recommends adding academic support before school, after school, during lunch, whenever is possible, so that students who need more academic support have the opportunity to get that support, maybe even outside of the school day. Finally, language support. With our Latino students, especially, a dual language program have been shown to reduce the achievement gap between our white and Latino students. Both language groups in students, so the students who are coming in strong in English and the students who are coming in strong in a different language, in this case Spanish, those students ultimately have been shown to outscore their English only peers. So, this model is really a model that's going to benefit all students involved and lower that achievement gap. If a dual language program is not possible, or even within a dual language program, we need to make sure that we have targeted language instruction. And this could be something such as the GLAD design, which is guided language acquisition design, which is described in the video by the Latino Achievement Gap. But that the point is that we need targeted language instruction for those students, since language is such a huge part of that achievement gap. Here are two great interviews that I have used throughout these presentation, but if you would like to watch the interviews for even more information, these are two great interviews about the Latino achievement gap and then the Black achievement gap in our schools. Thank you so much for your attention. Here are additional resources for you, and thank you so much for everything you are doing for our students.